Hello everybody, hope you're having an amazing day, or at least an interesting one. So today I'm making the second part of my haunted house series. The first house is the exterior, or the first part is the exterior of the build. I went for a very Victorian Tudor home style. I wanted it to be a really kind of creepy house, but I showed it to some of my family and they didn't even think it was that scary, and so I really wanted to make the inside as spooky as possible. I also came up for a story of this house, which I usually do with houses that I really like, because I make a little story for it. And for this one, I thought that there was this really old house. It's really dark and spooky and outdated. And so over the years, several people have went into the house, tried to renovate it, start a family, and then they mysteriously left, moved out, left their briefcases, or left their supplies. Maybe they tried to renovate some things, but they definitely didn't make it as far as I thought they would. So in some of the rooms, they made them very cluttered, they made them very busy, and there's junk everywhere. I added scratches to the doors, and I tried to make this place full of personality and story, and make it really kind of just terrifying to be in. And it's also another challenge because I don't have spooky stuff, and I also don't have vampire stuff or the vampire game pack. So that was just another challenge that I had to kind of overcome in this build, because those packs come with really good cobwebs and scratches and broken appliances, and it's a really good pack for this type of thing. But I just never owned them before. I never owned spooky stuff before just because I thought that it would never really be worth it, in my opinion. I don't really use that kind of thing. And it does come with some really good options. It comes with a pumpkin carving table, which I remember I saw in Vixella's Let's Play with the Not So Berry challenge, and I was just absolutely obsessed with it. But it doesn't have enough objects, and I know they're going through a lot of the old stuff packs and game packs, and they're renovating them and making them more full of content. And so I hope that they renovate spooky stuff, but for now I'm just not going to get it because it's only $10, but I really like to spend my money as best as I can. And if I don't think I'm going to use the objects of the packs that I buy, then I'm not going to get them unless they're on super sale, because I'm kind of cheap like that. Same thing with the vampire stuff pack, or the vampire game pack. I don't know why I keep messing that up. Anyway, but the vampire game pack is really good. It comes with some really amazing objects. It comes with a whole new world that I would love and I would use all the time. But it comes with the vampires, which I know is the whole kind of content that the game is based off of, is vampires, and they have this beautiful steps and guidelines to live, which is a lot different from normal Sims, which Mermaids has that, and a couple other creatures have that in the game. And it's not I'm against the cult Sims. I love having mermaids in my game and going to the bar and Alien Night. But the thing is that when you have the vampire game pack, oh my gosh, vampires will show up at your Sims doors, and they will sometimes they can break in and they'll bite your Sims and make them vampires. And I'm not really interested in that type of inflicting on my type of gameplay, because I do making family builds and family lifestyles. And so when I have a vampire show up at my door and bite my Sims, then that's just not ideal for me. Also, I don't have MC Command Center, which is an app or a mod, I guess, that a lot of people use to kind of get rid of them or delete them or whatever. And I guess every time I do start a new save, I can delete them, but it's just not worth it to me. Maybe one day if they figure out they add something in the editing tools or whatever, or the game options, that you can make them not go to your door, then maybe I'd buy it. But for now, I'm just, mods are a lot and I don't really know how to use them that well. And so it's just not worth it to me, I guess. At least not right now. But anyway, as you can see for the build, or the general layout of it, I gave it the house medium wall height, which is something that I don't usually do. Just because I thought it'd make the house more grand and more formal. and I really like that look when it comes to these type of Victorian homes. I inspired a lot of it off of like Clue, Knives Out, that type of older styled home. I didn't really look at any reference photos, which might have bit me in the back a little bit, in the front, or like the first part of this video, or the first part of the series. But I don't know, I think I really like the way it turned out, and even if it's just a pretty Victorian mansion, then that's also good, instead of it looking spooky and haunted, which is what I was aiming for. I also went for a more closed off floor plan just because I think that's more common in older homes, in like England or whatever, where it's like everything's kind of closed off and sectioned by room. I know that right now the styles, everything's really open, and open concepts and floor plans are kind of really in right now, where you take down the walls and, remove the arches, and you kind of have this really grand open space that's really airy. But since I wanted it to look kind of closed and kind of claustrophobic, I guess, then I really just kind of wanted everything to be more closed off and more formal. Like maybe they wanted to remove the walls, they got halfway there, but then, something happened where they weren't able to do that. If you know what I'm getting at. I really like this look. I love the kind of vintage look of it. And I also do this type of thing in farmhouses and other kind of concepts that are supposed to be older and not really supposed to be renovated. Just because I like kind of teasing the older style of design. And I think that it's interesting to incorporate history into your work even nowadays, I wanted to include like a library and a formal dining room and that type of thing, just because, like I said earlier, it's inspired off of Clue and Knives Out. Knives Out is one of like my favorite movies. Both of them are detective movies, by the way, if you don't know them. Knives Out is like one of my all-time favorite movies. It's so good, it's so funny, and I could just watch it all day. The twists in it and everything is just amazing, and the characters are so lovable. Well, at least, most of them are. Anyway, and then Clue is my mom's favorite movie. And I watch it so much times. It's so funny, like all the characters, how over exaggerated it is. I actually haven't played the game as much as I thought I would. I mean, I really love the game, but my family, we don't have like a lot of big, like family gatherings and stuff over here because we don't have a lot of family that visits us. And so it's only like 6 people, maybe like my grandparents and like my family and stuff. Occasionally other people are there, but it's mainly a small group of people. And in Clue, you need kind of a lot of people to have like a big impact and a big twist at the end. And so I don't really play it as much, but I do have the game and it's really fun. And if you have a big family or you have gatherings, then I totally recommend playing it. It's so fun. I also inspired some of the rooms off of the Goth family, because they have this really nice house. I'm sure most of you guys have heard of it if you are interested in The Sims 4. And it's kind of like that weird, like, EA style house where it's really kind of, like, big and empty in some parts, and it's kind of awkwardly laid out. But this lot is on the Goth family's lot, and so I did want to take some inspiration, especially in this room with the kind of fireplace and the living room and the bookshelves and the chess table and everything. I really liked it, and so I wanted to kind of incorporate some of that in it as well. The color scheme is also very dark, including like reds and grays and blacks, just because I thought that that would even make it even more creepy and more inspired off of the houses that I was going for. Also a little bit of like outdated things, like how there are tubs in like all the bathrooms and there's no showers, and so there might be some annoying things in gameplay, but I imagine that you'd place this house down and it'd be like this kind of creepy house in the neighborhood where like, nobody lives there and it's abandoned and nobody like, if you wanted to live here, you could, but I also put a bunch of, like, lot challenges on this, which might not be good, but if you want to see them, I'll put them in the first part, because I haven't recorded that yet, so, yeah. But anyway, and so, it might be hard to play in this house, just because it's, like, haunted, it has a lot of, like, lot traits and stuff that could be difficult for gameplay. But you can also just delete them and play in this house if you think that it's gorgeous, and you can clean it up or renovate it and do whatever you want, because I'm not going to tell you what to do. Anyway, also the black color schemes make everything more claustrophobic, like I said earlier, because usually dark colors make the room look smaller, which was kind of worked to my advantage in such like a big space. But yeah, I don't know, I never was really afraid of, I never really had claustrophobia before. I mean, I remember there was a scene in The Grinch, like the Christmas movie. I don't know if you heard of it. It's kind of like a really small, it's a really small Christmas movie, but and there's like a scene in it where he's breaking into like a house or whatever, and he's climbing down the chimney, and that scene terrified me when I was a little kid, and it still kind of does. Like the feeling of like you being trapped in like a chimney. I never liked that feeling at all. But and this might be a bad idea because, like, I know that some of you guys are, like, probably evil and are gonna, like, send me pictures of, like, my fears. But I'm actually doll phobic and I'm also have arachnophobia. And that is the fear of dolls and the fear of spiders. And I don't know if doll phobia is, like, a real thing. But, I mean, I think I heard that it exists somewhere and I just called it that because I have like a really awful fear of dolls to the point where it's just, I don't know, there's a room upstairs, it's a little girl's room. And I like had to kind of like, it was freaking me out making it. And I think you'll see why later, but like I was by myself and the room was dark and I like, and my closet is covered by these purple curtains at night. It looks really creepy. Like someone could just like reach their hand out and I could see it as well because it's not like an official door because I removed my doors. But yeah, and so I just did not like the room upstairs. I got phobia because I remember I was at this store called FYE with my dad and we were at the mall, and it was like an we were looking around and there was this box and it had a doll in it, and it was Chucky, if you guys, yeah, it was Chucky. And I was like, I wonder like what that is. Maybe I'm like 8 or 7 or so, I forgot my exact age. And so I was like, what's that, and my dad explained me the story that it was a doll that came alive and tried to kill this boy and blah blah blah. And my dad, he's a very good dad, but he can be very kind of like he doesn't really think a lot of the things that he's saying to his kids sometimes, and so it wasn't the best thing to say to me. But I was like, that's a really kind of creepy story. And so I couldn't stop thinking about it and about how kind of creepy it is because I was young and I had a lot of dolls in my room. And actually, I didn't have a lot of dolls in my room. I was more of like a stuffed animal type person, but like my friends did and stuff. And so I went home and I had this one doll that I got at Christmas, and it was this girl, and what I wanted to do was I wanted to learn how to do my hair because I didn't know how to do my hair at the time. And so my parents got me this doll. It was like a Rapunzel type doll, and you could like flip this switch and its hair can grow. It's actually kind of cool, but I never really got into it, and I always felt bad because I knew it was expensive because it was one of those like American Girl dolls. And so I was thinking about it, and I was like, I wonder if I still have that doll. Maybe I should start using it or whatever, right? And so I went into it. It was like I had like, these bins in my closet, and I opened one up, and then the doll. And I dug around for a little bit, and the doll was like at the very bottom, and its leg was broken. And so I was kind of like thinking in my head, like, why is this leg broken? I never used it before. I put it in the same bin as I put all my other toys that were like plastic, and they didn't break. And that's how the fear started. I'm terrified for life now. There's like a whole aisle in Goodwill where it's like dolls and stuff, and I just can't go through it. And people, like, I can't watch videos about like haunted dolls, and it's like a genuine fear. So there's a little something you probably didn't know about me. I also have arachnophobia, and arachnophobia, the fear of spiders is very common. And I don't know exactly how I got it. I think it was just little things that happened over the years that just kind of irked me. Like, we used to have like this garage area, and it came with like these two kind of stone cold steps, and my dad would go in there and he'd like record his video games and stuff. And in it there was like a tiny little like gap, I guess, between the stairs and the wall when you entered it. and it was like a pretty fun, like, big gap, and in it there was a black widow that lived there, and it lived there for years, and it didn't move. And when it did, I just wouldn't go in the garage for like weeks because I was terrified of it. And my dad was like, "Oh, I'm not going to move it because it's fine." And he doesn't like moving bugs because, like, it's their home. And if they're not bugging us, and why would we? But it was not a good move on his part, again, in my opinion. So there was that. There was also this one time where I was chasing my cat. His name was Eddie. And he would, like, and we had bamboo in our yard. I might make my first house sometimes, but I'd have to, like, ask my mom, and it kind of makes her sad and stuff, so I don't know if I'd do that. But we had bamboo in our backyard, and, like, there were, like, little gaps and stuff that my cats would hide in. And so I was chasing him, and we ran outside, and he went under there, and I reached out toward him, and then in front of him was this web with a big spider in it. And I almost, like, was so close to touching it. And that type of, like, little things would happen where it just kind of grew my fear of spiders. Another time when I was really young, I remember, like, when, like, uh, like, I lost one of my teeth, and so I get, like, little coins and stuff, like, the tooth fairy came and whatever. And like, I remember one time we were all sitting at dinner, and my parents were like, "Oh, like, where's the money the tooth fairy gave you?" You know, just asking, like, "Oh, like, where'd it happen?" You know? And so I was like, "Oh, yeah, they gave me $1." And I ran to my room, I looked under the bed, and a big spider ran out after me. And I was, like, crying, I, like, really freaked out. And so we, like, made jokes about it, and we still make jokes about it today. Like, "Oh my god, the tooth fairy's the devil," and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. But, like, those type of little things would continually happen, and so as the fear of spider grew for me. We'd do projects in school when I was, like, really young, where we'd, like, study spiders, so, like, to teach kids to not be afraid of them, and that they're beautiful creatures, and those type of little things I could just never get over. And so the fear of them just started growing and growing and growing. And so, yeah, I don't know. Certain spiders don't bug me, though. Like, daddy longlegs don't bug me. And, like, little tiny ones don't bug me. Like, there's little tiny red ones that we used to, like, climb over our garden and stuff. But, like, just, like, the usual spiders are absolutely terrifying to me. And so, those are just a couple reasons why, and those type of things just continue to happen. I guess I'm also kind of afraid of the dark. I mean, not to the point where it's, like alarming, I guess, but I do, like, sleep with, like, a nightlight and my doors open because, like, if someone breaks in and I want to, like, run out, I don't know. But things like that I do. I guess I have a lot of more fears than I thought. I remember when I was younger, I used to, like, jump over my bed, like, whenever I, like, put my feet over my bed, I'd, like, jump off because I was afraid of someone grabbing my ankles when I left my bed. And I talked to people about it, and it was actually kind of, like, a common fear, which I always thought was kind of weird. I was like, I'm not the only one that's weirdly afraid of absolutely everything. But anyway, I know I, like, talked and just rambled about my fears for, like, the whole top floor, but the top floor, I had, like, these two, I think, like, three big bedrooms that are really nice and formal. I put a lot of, like, creepy things around, making it look like everything in the house is, like, possessed. If you moved it, then something bad would happen. And I just wanted to make it really cluttered and messy, as you see in, like, the kids' room and the guest bedroom and a couple other things. I also hinted to some darker themes, like how there is like a baby changing table in the master bedroom, so you can use that as you will. And the kids' room has, like, these huge, like, dolls that are sized up, and, like, doll heads that are cut off, like it's like an evil sister and a good sister type thing. And there's a little gift on the one of the beds. It's little things like that I just wanted to incorporate to make it really have more detail and be more interesting to download and look around. I thought about putting this build on the gallery, and I have, of course, but and tagging it for a little Simsy as, like, a fixer-upper type build, because she has this series on her channel where she fixes, like, haunted things and stuff. or scary builds, and she like deletes it and makes it clean and renovates it. But it's not that detailed. Like people that do those type of builds are like, extremely talented, and they scroll through debug, and the builds take hours and hours and hours. And this one I just didn't think was worth it compared to everybody else. And so I just didn't do it. But I don't know, you guys could tell me, I guess, if you think that I should fix it before I post it in the gallery. I was at Spooky House and stuff at Life Interesting. And yes, you guys can tell me if you think it'll be worth it for her to download, but I really don't think it's as interesting as some other builds she does fix on her channel. I don't know. I like to think that I'm generally pretty good at building in The Sims 4, but I'm definitely not the best. I'm definitely not as creative and don't put in as much time as some other people. But I don't know. I like all the builds that I make, and if I don't, then that's just the way it is. But I think it's important to always try new things and always experiment and try the best to make your build as best as you can make it, because that's the only way you're going to improve is by trying. I use the cheat bb.show hidden objects to go through debug and get all these kind of creepy little items, put like knives everywhere and like bottles and like creepy things like that all over the place. And those are really good items to have just for like extra detail. And even though I don't think I used them to my full potential in this build, because I made this I think last night and I was getting kind of tired and stuff, but you can definitely it's a really good tool that you can use. Everything's mostly free, so if you're making like, let's say, a base game build or a cheap build or something like that, then adding those little details that are really free and cheap and for extra detail are really important and can really influence your build. Anyway, we're about to be done with the build. You can download it it's called Spooky House in the Gallery at Life Interesting. I used a lot of hacks in this, but I think you can definitely download it with just the base game and renovate it if you'd like. I hope you guys all enjoyed the build, and hope you enjoy the screenshots. Bye!